We had, just switching gears slightly, we had third quarter GDP subpar 2% economic growth. Most economists believe that is too low to make a dent in the unemployment rate. In your campaign, what are your proposals to grow the economy and get jobs?
Well, my biggest concern right now, and I think it's not being talked about enough, was the banking regulatory bill. Everyone I talk to says it's more difficult to get loans for businesses in Kentucky and throughout the land. I say over and over again, no banks failed in Kentucky. It wasn't a problem with our local banks. It was a problem with government banks. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac were 80% of the problem or more. My fear is that a bad recession could turn into a worse recession because of overzealous regulations on banks, and I'm fearful that this recession we have may make a second dip because of all the new regulations. So really, that's my point. I don't care whether President Obama proposed these programs or who did, but we need to repeal the things that are preventing us from getting out of this recession.
Understood, but if one side works to undo what the other side has done for 2 years, is that going to be a recipe for cooperation or a recipe for gridlock?
Well, I think there'll have to be some cooperation, but I think the American people want to debate over this, and I think we do debate it and we decide how do we get out of the recession. And the thing is people primarily want results. The results would be jobs being formed to get out of this recession. I think you do it by believing in the people, individual entrepreneurs, businessmen and women, but I don't think you get there by adding more regulation on business. You know, the banking regulation bill has not been talked about enough. Everybody talks about Obamacare, but my biggest fear for getting out of the recession is that all these new regulations are heaped on community banks. What our small businesses in Kentucky are telling us is that it's difficult to get a loan even when you have a good track record, a good credit record, because of all these new regulations.